Hello, welcome to our English Language Arts class homepage. We're going to do a quick class tour so you can find everything you need as we go through this year. Let's start with our class homepage. On the left side, you'll be able to see our class updates and class plan. This is where you'll be able to see any discussions, assignments, lessons, and readings that are coming up for you. As you can see, we have our first lessons coming up next week. If we go back to the top of the page, while there's no Class Connects today, because for me, school hasn't started yet, this is where you'll usually find your classes for all meetings you have for that day, not just for ELA. So if you're working on your lessons, you can always come back here and go straight to class. The last bit on our homepage is our class announcements. Right now you can see our welcome to class message. There's a little video from me and some information about our class, and our scavenger hunt hint if you haven't turned in your scavenger hunt yet. But this is what you'll see every time you log in to Language Arts. Now I want to talk a little bit about our top menu tabs. These first 5 tabs next to Class Home have everything you need to be successful this year. So let's start with our plan. Here you'll see a calendar with everything that's due for ELA, unit by unit. So you can already see that our unit resources we'll be looking at the start of our school week, and you can see every quiz, every reading that's coming up. So if you have something going on and you want to make sure you have time to do your work, the class plan is really useful so that you can stay organized. Next, we're going to look at the Content tab, and this one is really important. The Content tab is where everything we do in Language Arts lives. Every reading, every resource, everything we do is right here. So you can scroll through our menu on the left-hand side. So we have our table of contents with everything, course materials, resources, and our first unit. As we get to units 2, 3, and 4, you'll see more added. These skills centers, 6, 7, 8, and 9, are not required. They are just helpful practices if you want to get better at some of our ELA skills like language, speaking and listening, reading, and writing. If you want a little extra practice before you do an assessment, these are great tools to use. Our main parts of our course materials are right here at the top. We have course information, recordings where all of our future classes will be put after they're finished, our class texts and media, so any readings, videos, or poems that we might study will be put in here. Resources. These are things I've made for you. So things like this video will be found here and frequently asked questions and how-to videos. We have outlines and guides. These are resources to use to help you write. They'll help you structure a paragraph or a story or an essay. We also have our discussion and help forums where you can get advice, share ideas, as well as give book and movie recommendations. And finally, we have our lessons. So Unit 1 is all ready to go. You'll start with your Unit 1 resources. These are elements, documents, and helpful hints to make sure your unit stays organized and goes smoothly. And then we have all our lessons for the whole unit. Every reading, every workbook, every test and quiz is right here. So when you're assigned lessons, content is where you can find them. If you need to go back and find an old lesson, content is where you find it. We also have the progress bar. The progress bar, because I'm your teacher, I have no progress to report yet. But when you go in, this will tell you what lessons are completed, what work you've already done. We don't use this to grade, but this can help you keep track of anything you're missing. Maybe you missed a lesson and you feel confused because you're talking about something in class that you don't remember. Checking the progress can help you see if you're missing something. On that same note, if you go to our grades tab up at the top, you will find everything we're doing this semester. You will see what's in, what's not, what are your scores. If you ever see a 0 for one of these, it means it's missing. And don't worry, you can still turn it in and get full credit. Make that 0 turn into a 5 out of 5 or a 50 out of 50 by turning it in. And you can see all of our work for the semester right here. Now this last one, the tools, is a real special one because you have even more. This groups and class list isn't really going to be useful for you. That's more for me. So we're going to look first at announcements. Just like we have our welcome announcements, we'll have future announcements here with class recordings, notes, and information about what we're learning in the week. If you miss a class or you want to go back and get some notes, this is the announcements tab is where you'll find all of those. So even if you dismissed them from the home page, you'll find all our announcements here. We also have our discussions. You'll only have one graded discussion this semester. It's our intro one where we're going to give some ideas about what we want our class to be like. But there's some other useful forums too. There's the raise your hand forum where you can ask questions and get answers from me and your fellow students. There's our welcomes discussion. And there's also a share your writing discussion. If you have worked on anything in class, maybe you want some feedback on an essay, share it here and get some ideas from your peers. You can also share your personal writing. Maybe you write poetry or music or you're writing a story. Share it here and get some feedback from your peers. Now, peers who like to read, make sure you're keeping it positive. All our criticism should be constructive to help make better writers, not be tearing each other down. But I know you're awesome people and you'll be great supporters. We also have a media recommendations forum. The best part of ELA is learning about new stories and finding new stories to share. So the Media Recommendations Forum is where you can share books, movies, songs, poems, TV shows, anything you think is a good story that you want to recommend, put it here. Now all our posts will be moderated, so make sure you're being appropriate or respectful or your posts will not be made public. Finally, we have our assignments. When you just want to go and make sure you've turned something in, or you just want to go straight to an assignment and you don't want to wade through the content, this is where you're going to look. So here you can already see all our assignments for Unit 1, our online course scavenger hunt, and our graded assignment, the memoir. As we go through more units, more assignments will be added, and you can see whether you've submitted or not. When you've submitted an assignment, you will see it lit up here, and your score will pop up here as soon as it's graded. If you see a 0, once again, it means it's missing. So if you have a 0 and you think that's wrong, check and make sure you've submitted correctly. That's our last part of our class tour. So we're going to go right back to our class homepage where we started. And now you know where to find everything in our class. Let's make it a great year, everyone. Have a great night.